First at noon, after 2 years of war, the remaining living Israeli hostages are now back in Israel, and the fighting in Gaza has stopped as part of a peace plan brokered in large part by President Trump and his administration. Erica Brown has the latest from the White House.
Emotional reunions filled with tears, excitement, and relief as the released Israeli hostages embrace their families after more than 2 years in Hamas captivity. President Trump, who helped broker the peace plan, addressed Israel's parliament Monday, receiving a standing ovation, and called the moment the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God.
As part of the deal, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners were returned to the West Bank and Gaza, greeted by crowds of supporters. Then in Egypt, President Trump led a ceremonial signing of the agreement, which also calls for a surge of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Leaders from more than 20 nations joined President Trump for a summit to discuss the next phases of the peace deal, but representatives from Israel and Hamas did not attend.
For the people of Gaza, the focus now must be on restoring the basics of a good life. We're going to have a lot of money coming into Gaza and a lot of rebuilding and building. It's not so much rebuilding, it's really building.
Other major hurdles ahead include who will govern Gaza and disarming Hamas. But today, many are celebrating reunions with loved ones and the step toward peace. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz says he hopes the developments will lead to lasting peace in the region. In a statement, he said, quote, "Today marks a significant step towards closure and healing, both for all those directly affected by this horrific ordeal and the entire nation of Israel. As we celebrate today, we also mourn the hostages who died in Hamas's captivity and hope for their swift return. May their memory be a blessing." Meanwhile, the government shutdown is in its 13th day with no end in sight. There was confusion over the weekend. Hundreds of CDC employees were mistakenly sent notifications they were laid off. But as Christian Benavides reports, the pain is all too real for many federal workers.
With hundreds of thousands of federal employees furloughed, there's no one picking up the trash at Joshua Tree National Park and no one helping tourists.
The visitor centers are closed, so we could not ask our questions, what we would like, what we can see in the state parks.
As workers go without pay, some are turning to food banks to get by. Doris Anderson volunteers at one outside Los Angeles. Her niece was furloughed.
Her mother said to pray for her. And I said, well, prayer is good, but money's better. So I sent her some money.
More than 4,000 federal workers were sent termination notices last week. President Trump says he'll use the shutdown to target his political rivals.
We're ending some programs that we don't want. They happen to be Democrat-sponsored programs.
You cannot trust this administration.
In Congress, the shutdown is at a stalemate over health care. Democrats insist on an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies.
This is an emergency. In about a month, premiums are going to go up by 75%.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson says the shutdown needs to end before negotiations can start.
I cannot snap my fingers and go in a back room with Chuck Schumer and say, oh, here's the magic fix for it. It's not how it's going to work.
The Pentagon tells CBS News it has identified unused research funds that will be used to pay service members this week. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Here at home, the shutdown has had very little impact on travel at the state's airports. That's according to transportation officials who, along with Governor Josh Green, are praising federal workers for continuing to show up, even though they don't know when they'll get their next paycheck. In other parts of the country, the absence of air traffic controllers and TSA agents has led to flight delays and longer lines. Essential federal workers are required to report to work during the shutdown. And local nonprofits are bracing for a sharp rise in families who need help. The Hawaii Food Bank, which already lost $4 million worth of food due to federal cuts this year, is now planning extra distributions to meet the growing demand. An estimated 70,000 people in Hawaii are either furloughed or working without pay right now.
First, it's the price of food. Then it's the federal cuts. Then it's the layoffs. Then it's SNAP. And Medicaid cuts. Then it's the shutdown. What we've seen in the past is people start to panic, and so actually our shelves start to empty early, even if they haven't been impacted yet. Expecting a longer impact, we see surges in numbers.
Right now, the food bank has 3 large shipments of food worth $250,000 on the way to get ready for a prolonged stretch of hardship. And Hawaii's banks are offering help to federal employees, service members, contractors, and their families. The association, representing 7 of the state's largest banks, is encouraging customers affected by the shutdown to reach out for support. The options may include fee waivers, payment extensions, loans, or other credit options. And the shutdown has frozen Medicare funding for telehealth visits that cancels coverage for about 150,000 Hawaii seniors. But most providers, from independent doctors to large hospitals, are still offering video visits and hoping for reimbursement later.
You know, I want people to understand that there is a financial risk that Queens is taking in doing this, because what Queens is doing is saying, we are going to continue to offer telehealth services to our seniors because we know they need that care.
It's been difficult and very important to have telemed. We literally, you're right, we can't survive without it.
Large providers such as Queens can absorb the cost for now, but smaller practices are feeling the strain. Healthcare workers are set to strike tomorrow at Kaiser Permanente facilities across Hawaii and California. About 2,000 Hawaii nurses, pharmacists, physician assistants, and specialty health professionals are part of the strike. The unions representing the workers say Kaiser executives have refused to settle a fair contract. We reached out to Kaiser Permanente to find out how the strike will impact care locally. KP did tell us recently it has plans to make sure access to care will continue in the event of a work stoppage. The strike is scheduled to begin at 7 a.m. tomorrow and wrap up on Sunday morning.
And happy Monday afternoon, everybody. The main thing that I'm going to be talking about today is a chance for rain and also a large surf out there. We have a high surf advisory over north and west facing shores of Kauai, also over Oahu. This is going to continue until 6 p.m. on Tuesday, with the swell actually peaking out there tomorrow. Again, this does not include the Big Island. Our surf and shoreline forecast out there, north facing shores around 12 to 16 feet, west facing shores right around 12 to 15 out there, south facing shores 1 to 3, east facing shores a little bit choppy out there for your Tuesday morning. Like I also mentioned, we've got a better chance for rain and potentially even a few rumbles of thunder as we're going into Wednesday and Thursday, and really Friday out there. A weak disturbance is going to be moving over the western half of the state. I'll give you the details on this coming up.
Thank you, Drew. New at noon, the University of are announcing a new initiative to make it easier for Hawaii public school students to go to college. It's called the Direct to UH program, and it offers free admission to 9 UH campuses based on a student's GPA. Let's listen in live to a press conference happening right now at Farrington High School.
Farrington, you are home to one of the largest student populations in the entire state. And is it the best school in Hawaii? Kala mai, Auntie Moani didn't hear. Is this the best school in Hawaii? All right, okay, school spirit, personal pride, that's right. And so what better place to celebrate this exciting new chapter dedicated to empowering Hawaii's public school students. And we are here to open the doors to your future. We're honored right now to hear from a leader who champions Hawaii's students and the life-changing power of education. Before we get there, though, we want to take a quick second to recognize dignitaries that have taken the time to join us for this special announcement, and we just ask that you hold your applause. We do have, as you heard,
We'll have more on this story coming up on later editions of HNN and also on HawaiiNewsNow.com. Chaos on Hawaii Island, where police say a Na'alehu man is responsible for a violent crime spree that stretched up Highway 11 more than 15 miles from the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park area through Curtis Town. Ben Gutierrez has the details.
Police say Pomaikai Olsen faces first-degree robbery charges and likely more. That's after the miles-long crime spree that started at about 4:45 Saturday afternoon. That's when police dispatch started getting calls of a reckless driver in a white Dodge pickup on Highway 11. Officers were looking for that truck when a 62-year-old woman called and said someone had carjacked her at gunpoint and took her Hummer H3. Corey Unch was going to a grocery store in Volcano.
I was driving and a white Hummer SUV came barreling by me at high speed, went into the other lane to pass me, and started coming at oncoming traffic head on. As I was going, cars were veering off.
Unch says he almost got carjacked himself when he stopped to help.
And then as I pulled up and looked in the driver's side, he came around the front of the vehicle, approached my vehicle with the gun pointed at me, ordered me to get out of the vehicle. I put the pedal to the metal and got out of there as fast as I could.
Police say the stolen Hummer continued north toward Curtistown, running 2 responding marked police cars off the road and hitting 3 more vehicles.
We came out and, there was cars all on the sides of the road, and the guy was just banging everybody all the way down, all the way down towards 7-Eleven.
The Hummer became undrivable after the multiple crashes. Olsen then allegedly tried to carjack a 79-year-old man at gunpoint. The man fled the area and called 911. Police say Olsen then went on foot to a Curtistown home and confronted a resident inside.
And then he pointed the gun at me and kind of threatened me, saying he needs the keys to my truck. And just to end the situation, I told him, you know what, the keys is in the truck, take them.
Olsen didn't get far in the truck.
Sped out the driveway, hit my son's truck on the way out, reversed, proceeded to head towards the highway, straight and T-boned the car right on the highway.
Police say Olsen then tried to flag down other motorists and then threw the weapon at a passing vehicle.
My nephew saw him throw the gun and threw a piece of pipe at him and attacked him and grabbed him and took him to the ground. Then he was subdued by my nephew, my son, and a neighbor from up the road.
Police say the weapon Olsen brandished later turned out to be an airsoft pistol. Any potential witnesses and additional victims are being asked to call Hawaii County Police.
And that's Ben Gutierrez reporting. HPD has charged a father and daughter with assault on a police officer after a fight outside Farrington High School. Officers say they were trying to break up the altercation Friday night when the daughter, 18-year-old Naehu Montalvo Wong, allegedly struck an officer in the face, and the father, 39-year-old Kaeo Montalvo, kicked another in the groin. Both officers received medical treatment. The daughter's bail is set at $6,000. Her father's is set at $11,000. 67 people have now been killed on Oahu Road so far this year. A man who was critically injured in a crash on October 4th has died of his injuries. The 51-year-old lost control of his e-scooter that night on North King Street in Kalihi. He was not wearing a helmet. And a motorcyclist was killed early yesterday in Wahiawa. The man was traveling on Kamehameha Highway just north of Kilani Avenue at around 3 a.m. That's when police tell us he tried to overtake a vehicle, lost control, and hit a concrete curb. He was thrown onto the roadway and pronounced dead at the scene. He's believed to have been in his 40s. Authorities say he was also not wearing a helmet. Ahead on This Is Now, authorities in South Carolina are still looking for the gunman who opened fire at a bar, killing 4 and injuring 20 others. Plus, thousands gather for a paddle out in Windward, Oahu to remember a young waterman who lost his life in a vehicle crash. We'll be right back. Police in South Carolina are hunting for suspects after a mass shooting killed 4 people and injured at least 20 others. It happened early Sunday morning at a bar packed full of people on a coastal island near the Georgia state line. Skylar Henry has more.
Police combed the grounds of Willie's Bar and Grill on South Carolina's St. Helena Island Sunday morning, where hundreds of people scattered when a shooting broke out hours earlier.
En route to a possible active shooting situation, possible gunshot victims.
4 people were pronounced dead on the scene. At least 20 others were injured, 4 of them taken to hospitals.
So it's a chaotic scene.
Bar owner Willie Terrell spent Sunday afternoon picking up the items left behind by customers scrambling for safety.
It's hard to believe that something like that took place.
Terrell said the bar was hosting an alumni tailgate for a local high school. He said one of the dead is a security guard hired for the event.
Know that things like this could happen. Of course, you try to take the best efforts that you can to deter any situation like this from occurring. But when something like this happens, I mean, in your heart of hearts, at least in mine, I never really expected to ever see anything like this.
The sheriff's department said it was investigating persons of interest, but so far, no one has been charged. Skylar Henry, CBS News.
About 1,000 people celebrated the life of a well-known waterman from Windward, Oahu Sunday morning. 30-year-old Hopena Pokipala died in a car crash last month. Sienna Pillaton takes us there.
The shores of Ka'ohao were adorned with flowers Sunday morning after a paddle out for Hopena Pokipala, who died in a car crash in Waimanalo last month.
It was really special, really a great way to pay tribute to Hopena and the guy that he was. The beach was crowded till the eye can see, and the amount of people that paddled out with us was amazing.
The 30-year-old University of Hawaii at Manoa graduate owned the oyster shucking company Oysters Hawaii. Pokipala started the business with former Miss Hawaii and Miss Hawaii USA, Allison Chu, whom he married earlier this year.
There's a part where Allie, Hopena's wife, sang like a beautiful song, and you can just feel everyone just start to bawl, and it was really special.
Pokipala was also an avid surfer and paddler. On Sunday, several of his friends raced in the Moloka'i Hoi, a 38-mile crossing of the Ka'ivi Channel from the Friendly Isle to Oahu.
A lot of us were really torn. We didn't get to be at the service today, but in a way, we got to honor him by crossing that channel, and it's something that I know that he's done before, and it mattered a lot to him, and it embodies his spirit.
To symbolically have Pokipala with them during the race, Lanikai Canoe Club decorated their canoe with his funeral announcement.
Hopena was just an amazing, young man. A lot of the club values are the same values that he embodied, and that is community and, always supporting one another.
Sienna Pillaton, Hawaii News Now.
And stick around. Coming up after the break, we'll give you a look at our first alert radar and satellite and talk about the next chance for rain in the middle of this week.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
All right, well, happy Monday, everybody. We've got a kind of a shakeup in the weather pattern as we're going forward into the middle of this week. We've got a high surf advisory out there right now. Some pop-up afternoon showers possible due to the light winds. And, of course, we've also got a wet and unstable weather pattern like we've been giving you the first alert about all of last week. Our high surf advisory, again, is until 6 p.m. on Tuesday. That northwest swell starting to show that winter is almost here. You're going to be starting to see large surf out there on north and west facing shores. Another look at our surf and shoreline forecast. North facing shores around 12 to 16 feet. Again, peaking tomorrow 10 to 15 on Tuesday morning. South facing shores still pretty small. East facing shores a little bit choppy out there. And again, we could be running into a few box jellies on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's about that time of the month where they're starting to wash up on Oahu south and some west facing shores. There's the swell. It's moving out, peaking again on Tuesday. Another northwest swell, not as large as the first one, is going to be moving in on Friday. And then potentially we could be seeing another one move in as we're going into next week. That's going to evolve, so make sure to check back with us often for that. Our first alert radar and satellite, you see a few sprinkles out just to the northeast of Oahu, but we're watching this low pressure system far to the north of us. This is going to move closer to us as we're going into Wednesday and Thursday, and you can see this playing out in our first alert futurecast. Going into Tuesday morning, a few showers out there, mostly dry throughout Tuesday afternoon, but I want you to watch Kauai and Oahu as we're going into Wednesday and Thursday afternoon. We're starting to see more moisture as the disturbance and moving down to the southwest. We could even see a few rumbles of thunder. I want to preface that this is going to be a scattered rainfall event and isolated thunderstorms. It's not going to be a complete washout for everybody. But again, we are watching for the chance for a few thunderstorms, potentially even going into Friday morning. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is what we're watching right now, drying out a little bit as we're going into the weekend. Our winds outside right now, overall easterly flow. We're actually seeing northeasterlies over in Kahului, a little bit breezy out there. We're going to start to see the trade winds return as we go into Monday afternoon, or Tuesday. You're going to start seeing them get a little bit breezy Tuesday afternoon, so a little bit between 10 to 15 miles per hour. And that's also true over on Wednesday afternoon, a little bit breezier out there. Again, that's when we're going to start to see more impacts from that disturbance that's moving into our north. Again, a few pop-up showers possible over the next couple of days. Wednesday and Thursday, breezy trades between 15 to 20 miles per hour. Right now, we have those days highlighted in red because of the scattered heavy rainfall chance. Start to see typical trade wind weather return by Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you, Drew. Still to come, what caused traffic to come to a standstill on a busy Australian freeway? The video you need to see coming up in today's Good News Now.
All right, time for some good news now. An unusual roadblock caused some major traffic on an Australian freeway.
Yeah, you need to take a look at this video. Check it out. You might have heard of getting your ducks in a row, but what happens when you have ducks on the road?
Ooh.
Traffic cameras capture the moment. Drivers can be seen stopping their cars to let the ducks pass. People even got out and helped the ducklings waddle to safety.
Some of the lanes are open, like they could have driven by.
True. That's right.
Look at this. Arby's has debuted a new menu item for meat lovers, steak nuggets. The bite-sized pieces of steak are seasoned with garlic and pepper, and Arby's is calling it a whole new way to nugget. Steak nuggets are available now at Arby's restaurants nationwide for a limited time only.
They look all like well done.
Yeah.
Right? That's a problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a try the next time I'm at Arby's.
You will report back.
Yes.
All right, cool.
I will.
All right, everyone, we're gonna take you one last time outside here at Honolulu Harbor, looking at the airport, some clouds in the sky, but overall nice day today.
A really nice day to try Arby's nuggets. A whole new way to, oh my God.